Hello and welcome to the Best and Worst Pictures podcast. I'm your host, Jake, and with me, as always, my good co-host, Ian. And joining us, as usual, my other wonderful co-host, Joken. How you doing?
I'm all right.
And then, of course, we have returning to the show, Mud. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jake. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. You've been gone for like 8 or 9 episodes so far.
And 8 or 9 mere episodes, 7 months in the real world.
And yeah, we've been back and forth from Florida every so often. But what is this show, you might ask? Well, every so often we sit down and watch a Best Picture winner, and we decide if it's one of the best or worst pictures as compared to the other winners. And this week we're discussing, of course, none other than the 37th Best Picture winner ever, which is, of course, the 1964 blockbuster smash hit, My Fair Lady. And to start us off, Ian has collected some fun facts, which the rest of us have not heard ahead of time. So, Ian, take it away.
I'm Ian, and these are the fun facts. So, My Fair Lady was distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. It has a 94% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, a 90% audience score, 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb, and the Metacritic is 95, which is shockingly high. Metacritic's always super low.
Yeah,
Okay.
Metacritic's such an asshole.
Yeah, 95, really high.
Like, no, I'm just going to say it. Metacritic's a prick. Like, they never give anything above, like, a C.
Yep. It released on August 21st, 1964. It is almost 3 hours, being 170 minutes long.
Yep.
Its budget was only $17 million, but it made $72.7 million, which is pretty damn good. And it, of course, was adapted. It was adapted from the 1956 stage musical, which was also then based on George Bernard Shaw's 1913 stage play, Pygmalion. It has the duel going for it.
Okay.
Where it's based on the thing that was based on the thing.
Ah, my favorite.
Which I hate. Stars. Audrey Hepburn.
Oh, yes! I'm so happy right now.
I mean, I like a good Hepburn, don't get me wrong, but like I wouldn't lose my mind over
She's no
one.
Katharine Hepburn.
Shut up.
She was also in Sabrina, 1954, War and Peace, 1956, The Unforgiven, 1960, Breakfast at Tiffany's, 1961. She's a film and fashion icon.
Fuck yeah, she is.
I've seen about half of those. They're pretty good.
She was the first actress to win an Oscar, Golden Globe, and a BAFTA award for a single performance. That year, she also won a Tony for Best Actress in Best Lead Actress in a Play for her performance in Ondine. She also has an Emmy, so she has like every single major award.
Okay,
She
wow.
got the BGOT.
Yeah, she has
Damn.
literally everything. Also has Alan Napier as gentleman who escorts Eliza to the Queen of Transylvania. Now, I'm going to point out no one in this film is relevant besides like one person, so we're really stretching here. He was in Julius Caesar, 1953, Marnie, 1964, I believe that's the Sean Connery film, Mary Poppins, 1964, and Batman, 1966.
Yep.
He's Alfred.
He's Alfred. I knew that. That's the only thing I know of him.
Well, now you know he's also in those other things.
Exactly.
This film also has Rex Harrison as Professor Henry Higgins. What a good name. He was in Cleopatra in 1953 and Dr. Dolittle, the original one from 1967.
Damn.
That's how you know that we ran out of things. He is in 2 things that are remotely recognizable.
I hate movies like that where it's just like the one actress in it is the only important
Yup.
person.
That's really fun all the time. And this was directed by George Cukor, who directed Gaslight, 1944, and I believe the second A Star Is Born from 1954.
I wonder if we're going to hit all the directors for all the Stars is Borns.
Probably. Maybe.
Bradley Cooper directed the most recent one, right?
So I don't think so then, no.
No. Bradley Cooper was in what one?
But he didn't direct the Best Picture winner.
No, but he still might come up, is what I mean.
Oh yeah. He also directed part of Gone with the Wind, but he was fired in the early stages of production.
Yeah, okay, I knew this name from somewhere.
Yes, and that's very, very important. He made a lot more movies, but most of it is just like a big old crapshoot. Like he had like a lot of credits, but I'm like irrelevant movie I've never heard of. Gaslight, that's supposed to be a really good one. Movie I've never heard. Like
We've talked about Gaslight a fair bit on this podcast.
So many films.
I guess we should say we've talked around Gaslight because a lot of actors from that also popped up pretty frequently.
Well, now to be fair, I think we made it up. Yeah, it's not real. Fucking got him. And other notable films that came out this year, we got Goldfinger, notable film. The Pink Panther, banger. And, Marnie, I already mentioned it with Alan Napier. The production notes are very, very short, so bear with me for this very long time. Hepburn's singing was judged as inadequate, and she was overdubbed by Marnie Nixon, who we might remember because she overdubbed the main actress from Gigi, I believe.
Okay.
Important fact.
I'm pretty sure she also did the dub for Singing in the Rain.
Yes, she's done a lot of dubs. She sang Marnie Nixon sang every song except Just You Wait, which they did Hepburn's voice for the chorus because it's more harsh, and then Marnie Nixon does the bridge sections. The majority of the singing was dubbed, which wasn't approved by Audrey Hepburn.
Oof.
And she got snubbed for Best Actress, quote, quote, because of that, which we'll talk about a little bit. That's all the production notes. So, awards show got 12 nominations, won 8 of them. It won Best Picture over Beckett, Doctor Strangelove, a better film, Mary Poppins, and Zorba in the Greek.
Wow.
Yeah.
What good names.
Best Director, we got George Cukor, who won for My Fair Lady, being Peter Glenville, Stanley Kubrick, which, better film, Robert Stevenson, and Michael Kakayanis. Noted, every Best Director thing was also every Best Picture nominee.
Oh, so the 5 directors directed
directed the 5 Best Pictures.
Oh,
Gotcha,
yeah, that
yeah.
took me a second to realize.
Yeah, that also took me a second to process.
Probably didn't word it properly. Best Actor goes to Rex Harrison from My Fair Lady, beating Richard Burton, Peter O'Toole, Anthony Quinn, and Peter Sellers. Best Supporting Actor went to Peter Ustinov for Top Copy, beating out John Gielgud, Stanley Holloway, Edmund O'Brien, and Lee Trayson. Stanley Holloway was the My Fair Lady nominee.
Mm-hmm.
Best Supporting Actress went to Lila Kerdrova from Zorba in the Greek, beating Gladys Cooper, Edith Evans, Grayson Hall, and Agnes Morstead. Edith Evans, again. Not Edith Evans. Gladys Cooper being the My Fair Lady person.
So all 4 acting positions were nominated from Fair Lady.
Nope. Didn't get an actress nomination.
She didn't even get a nomination.
Completely.
Oof. Oh, I thought you were saying she just got snubbed for the victory.
Nope. Didn't even get nominated because she didn't do any of the singing in this 3-hour-long musical.
That's a good point.
That is
Like
a
half
valid
of it.
point.
Best Screenplay based on material from another medium. Still the name of the category, by the way. Beckett won this one, beating Doctor Strangelove, Mary Poppins, My Fair Lady, and Zorba in the Greek. I don't know if you guys sense a theme of only like 5 movies were nominated for anything
Seriously,
this year.
did anything else even come out this year?
Mary Poppins.
That's not true.
Mary
Also,
Poppins.
that's nominated.
Yeah, the unmistakable Molly Brown came out this year for Best Scoring of Music, Adaptation, or Treatment. My Fair Lady won this one, beating A Hard Day's Night, Mary Poppins, Robin and the Seven Hoods, what a name, and the unmistakable Molly Brown. Best Sound, My Fair Lady beat Beckett, Father Goose, Mary Poppins, and the unsinkable Molly Brown. I think I said unmistakable. That's just not the title of the film. Best Art Direction,
It's
Color.
a different film.
My Fair Lady beat out Beckett, Mary Poppins, the unsinkable Molly Brown.
I think you mean
and
the unflappable Mary Brown.
What a way to go! Exclamation point. Best Cinematography, Color. My Fair Lady beat out Beckett, Cheyenne Autumn, Mary Poppins, and the unsinkable Molly Brown. Best Costume Design, Color. My Fair Lady beat out Beckett, Mary Poppins, the unsinkable Molly Brown, and What a Way to Go!
I feel like you
Exclamation
said a
point.
different name. For
No,
that
it's
film.
unsinkable, I promise. I got it right this
The
time.
inconceivable Molly Brown.
And Best Film Editing went to Mary Poppins, beating out Beckett, Father Goose, Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte, and My Fair Lady. That was a mouthful.
Jesus Christ.
So the fun award night notes. This is the first time an award was ever presented in the field of makeup. Was this year's?
Ooh, what film won?
I did not see that. Well, I don't have it written on
I'm
here.
gonna look.
I'll take a
up
look.
Yeah.
something because I'm pretty sure The Elephant Man by David Lynch was the movie that instigated that award. I could be wrong.
Yeah, but this could have been like a honorary one.
Oh yeah,
I
good
believe.
point.
I'm
was
looking it
probably
up.
the thing.
I'm looking it up.
Well, while you're looking it up, Audrey Hepburn was controversially not even nominated for Best Actress. The unpopularity of her replacing Julie Andrews, who originated on the role in Broadway for this play that now got adapted to a movie, as well as all of her singing being dubbed by Marnie Nixon, were seen as the main reasons for the snub. So there were 2 big factors.
So it looks like Butter and I both stumbled upon separate fun facts. Do you want to go first?
I think we might have the same fun fact.
Okay, well, I have that The Elephant Man received the Academy received widespread criticism for failing to honor it for its makeup effects because it does have outstanding makeup effects. So the next year after 1980, they created the makeup and
Which
hairstyling
led to
category.
the 1981 win of An American Werewolf in London.
Okay.
Yep.
The film in 1964 received a special honorary award.
Yep.
It was Seven Faces of Dr. Lao.
I have
Okay.
seen the makeup and effects on that film. they're really cool.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So the award that was given out this year was an honorary award, and then the next honorary award that was given out was in 1968 to Planet of the Apes. Thank you, Ian. I was waiting.
I had to track every 1968 film I knew of in the top of my head.
I thought I figured you'd be able to get it.
Planet of the Apes is in my top 10 films of all time list.
Yeah. All right. So we will revisit that
And
in
then
the 80s.
This event marked the first time that 3 films have received 10 or more nominations.
I'm guessing it was.
Repeated at the 50th and 92nd Academy Awards.
92nd.
And the only time in Academy history that 3 films got 12 or more nominations.
So I'm guessing they were My Fair Lady.
Yep.
Mary Poppins.
Yep.
And Beckett.
Beckett.
All
My
right.
Fair Lady both got 12. Mary Poppins received 13.
Hey, I got fucking all 3.
So to kind of follow up on what Ian just said, the 50th Academy Awards was 1977's Annie Hall Best Picture winner.
Great.
Woody Allen. And,
Oh, that one's going to be fun.
That's gonna be a good one.
what did you say? The 92nd?
Yep.
Parasite and Cats won for Worst Picture Unrelated.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one too.
It's gonna be a very good one.
I'm very excited for that
I had to
episode.
mention it. I had to.
Because what? It was Parasite,
Parasite, The Irishman, and JoJo.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think it was JoJo.
All
got-
got nominated for over 10.
ScarJo got nominated for actress and supporting actress.
and
Yep,
lost
for 2
both.
different films.
Lost both.
And that's all of our fun facts, except for one. Our Mary Pickford fact. Which Mud politely found for me because I realized the one I had was copy-pasted from the last one, and I just never changed it and thought I had one.
I like how you powered through that burp.
Oh, of course.
It's incorporated into the speech.
It's very important.
Their
You don't
first
understand.
misunderstanding, which was thought to be lost, was found by Peter Massey in New Hampshire, who was tearing down a abandoned barn. It was one of the first films that Mary Pickford ever did, and it was the first film that was actually credited with Mary Pickford as her name, as opposed to her real name, which was Gladys Knight, I believe.
Gladys Smith.
Gladys Smith. Gladys Knight is a singer.
Yeah.
That's why my brain defaulted to that.
Yeah. You should also mention it was recovered in 2013.
Yeah, that was not on here.
My
but-
apologies.
No, that's fine. Very important to note.
So,
That was,
yeah.
one of
We're
her.
gonna go watch a 3-hour-long musical, and we'll talk to you guys. I'm gonna give you a spoiler. I probably won't like it, but you know. Oh no.
I'm holding out hope.
Yeah, you have to, because A, musical from the 60s, B, 3 hours.
So let's check it out.
Yeah.
So we just watched My Fair Lady. How are we feeling?
I'm feeling really good. That was a good one.
I'm feeling all right.
Feel important, governor.
What?
No, Joker's correct because I'm really glad we watched subtitles with this movie.
Yeah,
the-
oh
well,
my
the
God.
whole point of the film is Audrey Hepburn is Cockney, which means she's uncultured.
Right.
Same
So
logic.
she has a very thick accent, and like this guy is like, I'm gonna teach you how to speak like a proper English priss.
Yeah.
And then he does. And in the first part of that movie, holy shit, is it just a lot of, oh God, now if you head down the road and take a left, we'll end up...
horny, ain't you?
You're horny.
Oh, and
Don't say you're horny, ain't you?
I'm gonna.
It's all one word. You horny, ain't you?
no,
Yeah,
but like,
No spaces.
No spaces, no consonants.
This movie does not waste time in the opening. It starts right out with some awesome dialogue.
It
Like
also-
what you're talking about.
Yeah, it wastes time during the last hour. This film's 3 hours long and absolutely does not.
I want to talk about the opening.
The opening
first.
to the film does not waste time. It wastes a little bit of time after that.
I like the dialogue at the start, how it immediately gets us into the characters and what they're like.
Yes.
Like,
Audrey-
from like minute 1, you know what's up.
Oh yeah. Audrey has a very strong intro, and when I say strong, I mean like she's screaming her lines.
Yes.
And it's because she's Cockney and uncultured. I can't stress enough those two things are
Synonymous
Correlated.
in this.
Yeah,
in this,
if you're Cockney, you're uncultured.
movie.
And at first I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, why is Ian saying she wasn't even nominated and that was a snub? But as the film went on, she evens out. You kind of get used to it. It was really, really good. I do have a note here. I just said rabble rabble because there's like 6 minutes of B-roll and like people just talking. And then I don't remember exactly what happens. I think Higgins just fucking vibe checks Eliza in the middle of the street.
Yep.
And then she just starts screaming her head off. And I was like, they're really opening with this dialogue after 6 minutes of no talking.
This is one of the most flagrantly British movies I've ever seen.
Not derogatory.
Not derogatory.
Tom Jones, British, derogatory. This movie, British, not derogatory.
Exactly. Like I said, I'm glad we had subtitles. The choreography is really impressive.
Most of it is.
I really liked it. I
Yeah, I
really
liked
liked
it
the
a lot.
choreography of the dances.
There's a couple like you said, when her father is singing about getting drunk and being an asshole. One of those guys was not doing anything.
Yeah, he was not doing it. They were supposed to be step down, step up on like a curbside in beat, and this guy's just stamping along. But there's only 3 dancers, and I'm like,
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah, there's a couple of moments but it's mostly really good.
it's minor. It's minor. But on the subject of that opening, I really think that the entire plot of this film is a little contrived
yes.
Yeah.
because out of nowhere, Eliza, Audrey Hepburn's character, just gets fucking vibe checked, and then she just starts screaming that somebody's following her, and it turns out that these 2 old men nearby are Colonel Pickering and Mr. Higgins, who are 2 essentially dialect professors. Like they
Yes.
study
Yeah, they're
language and
coaches.
how people pronounce words, and they make fun of the fact that Audrey Hepburn's character is Cockney and uncultured, and that she talks weird. And I do like that this like kind of comments on the fact that England does have an insanely versatile number of accents for being such a small island. Like
Yeah.
England at its widest is about 100 miles across. The amount of dialects that there are in England is probably more than there are in the entirety of the continental United States.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is just an insane
Maybe,
thing to think
yeah.
about.
In a grand way, you can think of the United States
Like,
as an
I
offshoot
can
of those
say-
dialects.
I can say right now, I know several people from England.
Yep.
And off the top of my head, I can think of 5 different accents that they talk in.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I have a friend who lives in Canada, on the far side of Canada, on the west coast of Canada.
Yep.
And we talk the exact same. I
Right.
don't hear an accent when he talks. But if I talk to Matt, he doesn't sound the same as James, doesn't sound the same as Ben, doesn't sound the same as Josh, doesn't sound the same as Adam.
Yep.
All of those are painfully British names. I just want to point out.
Yes, they are. But like, and it's just insane to me. And I like that this film is about British accents and British vernacular to an extent. But I just feel like she just starts screaming about somebody watching her, and then Higgins is like, "I'm not watching you." And then Pickering and Pickering and Higgins are like, "Oh, I was looking for you. I was looking for you. Who the fuck are these 2 people?"
It's really funny though.
And then Higgins just happens to give out his address in a very public setting, and then Audrey's character is just like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna get some of that fancy higher education. I will," and marches down to Higgins's office and is like, "Teach me how to be a lady."
I think that's a relic from the fact that it used to be like an on-stage story.
Yeah.
Where everything has to happen in one room and one scene per scene.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
can't really like, cross-cut. There's no cutting.
Yeah.
So I think that's a relic from that. It didn't really get rewritten that much.
Yeah.
But I do, on the topic of the bet and the forging of the bet, I like that she's in on the bet. Usually in like My Fair Lady style movies, because it is for some reason a genre. Like this kind of movie comes out like every year almost.
Yep.
I'll turn this dumpster whore into a princess.
Oh, no. He says, I'll make a duchess out of this draggle-tailed gutter snipe.
I
You
love.
wrote down
They
the
call her
exact
a
quote.
draggle-tailed gutter snipe.
Gutter snipe
Like
alone
6 times.
is already a fantastic insult.
Dude,
Yes.
that's not the only banger he had. He also had slum prudery and barbarous wetch. I wrote down every time. I was like, dude, I understand why you fucking study dialogue, because you're a fucking master of those bars, bro.
Master of those bars and a master of hating old people that aren't himself.
Dude, he's such a fucking asshole. To skip ahead a little bit, towards the end of the film, Ian was like, God, 2.5 hours in, and none of Higgins' character development's on display. And I'm like, dude, he hasn't developed.
They try to shovel some in the last 15 minutes.
Yes, they do. But like the whole point is he's an asshole and he's not going to
Yeah,
change.
no, I like how he doesn't have much, but she super does, and the
Yeah.
conflict comes from them like talking.
It's because it comes from like, she's like, oh, I could really use your help with this. And he's like, I'm going to treat you like an experiment. And towards the end, she's like, I don't really appreciate the way you've been treating me. Thank you for all your help. Goodbye.
And he's still the same person where he's still like, no, I'm still better than you. I made you, whatever. And then she's like, no, I'm clearly a human being.
There are some terrible undertones to that.
Okay. I want to talk a little about this because this movie, I feel like, has its cake and eats it too, where it both deconstructs and flagrantly sticks to sexism.
It does. Yes, that's one of my main issues.
I'm having trouble because I know it's
Yeah.
not 100% on either end. It's not a full deconstruction. It's not a full blatantly sexist movie,
Yeah.
but it's a little bit of both.
like Higgins is a blatantly sexual.
Sexual,
not sexual.
Freudian slip.
Higgins is a blatantly sexist character.
Yep.
That's baked in from his first song. I believe it is called. I wrote it down. Ian, what's it called?
I didn't write down the name, so I put song 1, song 2, song 3.
It's those Why Can't Women, I think is what it's called.
Oh my god.
Yeah, where
And he's literally just
Why
goes on a
can't
tirade
women
about
be
how much he
more like
hates
men?
women and how much he prefers women to be men. And, you know, it establishes his character. And again, throughout the course of the film, he doesn't really change. And he views Eliza as his property, his project, his pet, basically.
He literally says, and I quote, "She belongs to me. I paid $5 for her."
Which we will get into in a minute. And then at the end of the film, like, they split up. Not romantically, but, like, Eliza's like, I don't need you. And he goes on this huge tirade song about how she'll be homeless and he'll be fine and he's not going to worry about it. And then at the end of the song, he then continues into a second part of the song.
Yeah.
No, he
About-
flips back and forth a
About how
couple
he's gonna
times
miss
in
her.
the song.
Yeah, he does. And then at the end of the film, she comes back and he just goes, "Get me my slippers, will you?" And he leans back and I'm like, I don't know if you earned that.
So one of the things that I have a problem, Jake, it goes directly with the sexism thing. This movie simultaneously deconstructs and heavily favors the classism and like almost racism the posh and cockney have against.
Sure.
I guess it wouldn't be racism, but that kind of
Culturism,
yeah,
one could say.
the culture
maybe.
tones between them.
Yep.
Because the
There's
movie,
some classism.
the movie is very much like fuck cockney people. Never gets off of that. And I know they were supposed to think they're the bad guys, but it really does say, we finally made you a lady. Good job. And she's supposed to be upheld at the end of the film. It really still upholds those.
She
things.
doesn't go back to talking like herself at the end of
Yep.
the film, which I think is very telling. She has a love interest,
Freddie.
Freddie, barely in the film.
Yeah, a lot of characters are barely in the film.
Yeah,
He's more there to serve a purpose
Yep.
for a later scene where
Yeah.
they argue at the end.
yeah,
But
but
that's
it's nice because he does see her Cockney accent. He sees that she's Cockney and uncultured, and is like, "Nah, I like you." And then he tries off screen to get her attention.
Yep.
And then at the end of the film, they kind of start dating or something.
Maybe.
Not really.
Maybe, not really.
She doesn't like him. She's
She
like, he
mentioned-
writes me letters.
I know. I think she does kind of like him. I just think it wasn't shown properly.
Yeah.
I think the film's trying to imply that she likes him, but like, eh. I think it would have been stronger if there was a scene of her and Freddie like talking a more extended amount, not singing together, but talking. And she's just dropped the accent, dropped the grammar, and she's just back to talking, you know, like a Cockney wench. And she's just, oh, he's such an arsehole, he is, you know?
Yeah.
And he's fine with it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that would have landed a harder punch. Also, the shit with her dad.
Boo!
Dude, her dad straight up does not need to be in this film. First
I
off,
agree.
unpinning that comment about the $5 thing. So her dad's a bum. Like,
Yeah.
just straight up.
Mhm.
And he's always begging for money.
Which makes sense that they're
But he
basically
wants
similar.
to be. He
wants to be. He
that's
likes
the life
that
he's set
lifestyle.
out for.
So then he goes to Higgins and he's like, yo, you know, you're taking care of my daughter. Reparations? And Higgins is like, here's $5. Get the fuck out.
Yep.
And
No,
then
it's more like, I mean, he's down for the idea of giving him more money, you know?
Yeah, but like
I know, but I'm summarizing quickly.
well, I think it's worth mentioning that the father was offered 10 and he says no, I just want 5. 10 is too much.
Exactly.
And then Higgins is like, oh, something, tell this American about this weird morals guy in England, right? And then 2 hours go by and we do not see him.
Yep.
And then he's like, yeah, that American left me money and now I make $4,000 a week and I hate it. And I'm getting married in the morning, which is the most
5 to 7 minute song and dance number of a thing that we were told explicitly by him twice, and then he said, you can come to the wedding if you want. So 3 times.
And then it just moves on to the next scene.
And we never see him get married.
This film is almost 3 hours long, and I think we universally agree, despite the fact that we all liked it, it could have been way shorter.
2 hours. This film could have been 2 hours. It
2
would have been
hours.
so
2
much
hours,
better.
10 minutes.
Would have
I
been a
say.
tight 2 hours. I think as it is, the cut that we watched mostly has a good pace.
I think so up until a little over the 2 hour mark.
I think
right-
predominantly, yeah.
Right after they go to a ball, and Eliza manages to fool everyone into thinking that she's a Hungarian princess. Because there's this professional bullshit detector there
Yep.
who's like, her enunciation's too prim and proper for someone who's just naturally learned the language.
Yeah.
She's a Hungarian princess. And it's like, ha, joke's on you. She's a gutter wench.
Gutter snipe.
Gutter snipe. And they're all sitting around jerking each other off like, oh, we did so great with this project. You know, this creature. He loves calling her a creature, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gets off to it.
And Eliza gets all upset and fucks off. After that, pacing completely falls apart. And
Oh
the
my
movie
God,
loses focus.
yup.
It doesn't know where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
You can say what you want about the first 2 hours of the movie. I don't love the whole thing. Like I don't like, oh, it's a banger the whole time. It's good, but after like 2 hours, it falls apart like it's made of wet newspaper. Like I cannot stress how dragging the last 45 minutes of this film really are.
I mean,
Yeah.
I drags, but I do like the conclusion, I will say.
I think the conclusion could have been stronger.
It
Yes.
could have been. It absolutely could have been.
I see. I disagree.
Oh, you love it?
No. I think that this. I don't think it could have been. Sorry. It could
Yeah.
have been stronger if she just didn't come back. I would have
Yeah.
rather him just like wallow in sadness for the rest of the movie because now he's vindicated for his shitty actions. That's
Right.
the way I see it.
Here's
That's
my-
the way
I
I see
have
it.
a
He
per-
was yelled at for a total of 5 minutes. Whatever. Now it's gonna go back to the routine they just
Well,
had.
let's not undercut the yelling part. Like that was a big that sent him on a psychological
Yes, but
breakdown.
the fact that she comes back.
He didn't sit on it for any amount of time.
Can
Exactly.
Here's my proposed alternate ending that I thought the movie was going to go with. Cut to a year later. Eliza and Freddie are happily married. They're living a modest life. Eliza's back to being all cockney and uncultured. And she's doing exactly what she said she would. She's teaching a phonetic school. They don't have a lot of money, but they're super happy. And maybe Freddie's running like a florist shop on the side. They're just vibing. And the film ends. Year later. Who shows up to say hello? It's Mr. Higgins.
It's Pickering.
And
Everyone's favorite.
he comes to her and apologizes in some way. I think that's the main problem is after Eliza blows up at Higgins and is like, listen, I'm not into you. I just want your respect because we've been working together for a long time.
Yeah.
And, you've taught me a lot and I do owe you a lot and you are nice sometimes, but goddamn, you're an asshole. And he goes, you're not worthy of it, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the film, it is Eliza who goes back to Mr. Higgins.
Yep. And he doesn't apologize. Nothing.
No, he's like, where are my slippers?
He makes a quip about his slippers. The night before, Eliza threw those slippers at his fucking head because she felt like he was treating her like an animal.
Yep.
If I were to improve this film's ending, I would steal from a movie I think it's worse.
Sonic 2.
I'm gonna get that out of the way. But Gone with the Wind, I would literally just do a note for note recreation of Gone with the Wind, and that's what I thought.
Frankly,
it was,
Mr. Higgins, I don't give a
That's
fuck.
what I thought it was going for. Like
Yeah.
she just leaves the
That
house.
punch line.
Yeah.
That
And then
hits you right in the
bam,
gut.
you end
You're
it
done.
right there, right then. You don't need to see him to
We
wallow.
don't need the song and dance number.
No,
I think here's how I thought the film was going to end, except there was another 45 minutes. Eliza leaves Mr. Higgins' house after their fight. She meets up with Freddie. They go back to the slum where they meet all the uncultured Cockney people. They don't recognize her, and she and Freddie decide to fuck off to some new location and start over. I think that could have been a fine ending too.
No, because I wouldn't buy the romantic. I don't think she has any romantic interest in
Freddie's
Freddie.
not in the film enough to make me have a hard
Yeah.
decision either way.
Yep.
He's in
What-
his introduction scene, and he goes to the house and he's like, "Yo, is Eliza home?" And they're like, "Fuck off." And then he's not in the film for an hour and a half.
Exactly. They have no on-screen time together at all.
Too many things just get dropped for multiple hours.
It's true. Literal multiple hours.
Yeah, the dad conflict.
Like, literally, when Freddie comes back, he's like, "Eliza." And she's like, "Fuck off, Freddie." And I'm like, "You know him?" What? How
do you
long has
remember
it
this
been?
man?
Yeah.
You had a brief conversation
also
at
has
a
to-
horse race.
But then he also has to tell her that he's been writing her multiple letters. And it's like, hold on.
Weird.
Hold on. Where I think this film could have been cut down, and I think some scenes could have been rotated out, and made the whole thing a lot stronger. I think this could have been a solid 2-hour film.
I agree.
I
It would've
absolutely
been.
agree.
Yeah, I agree.
What?
And like I said, I do like the ending. It could have been such a worse ending if they got together. That would have tanked everything.
Then they end up dating at the end.
Literally.
The end.
That would, honest to God, that probably would have ruined most, if not all, of the movie.
It would
for
be
me.
the Gigi
That would've been-
problem.
It's
It
the
would
Gigi
have
problem.
been the Gigi problem.
That would have been awful.
Honestly,
Fun fact,
the movie-
I almost thought that was the American in Paris problem. Nope, same director. That's why I thought.
Yeah,
that.
exactly. But no, as it is now, honestly, it's the diet Gigi problem.
No, I don't think it's.
I think that is exactly why Audrey Hepburn goes out of her way in her big rant to be like, "I don't love you. This isn't a romantic thing. I just want your respect."
And I like that rant a lot. I think
It's
it
a
says
powerful
lot.
rant. It's
It
a good
is.
scene.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it gets undercut by her going back 5 minutes later.
Exactly.
That's my
This
problem.
is all. It's all
Okay,
over the
but
course of a
she's-
morning.
She's clearly not going back to be like, I'm gonna be your wife. Like it's clearly
No, but she
No,
should-
but it's
she
this.
doesn't
She's
sit
going
on
back to the status
to
quo.
accentuate the character progress, Higgins needs to go to Eliza, not the other way around.
Exactly.
I agree
He
with
needs
that.
to meet her.
Higgins
agree.
either needs to go to Eliza or counterpoint. Time needs to go in between. If me and Joaquin had a huge argument, and I was just like, "All right, Joaquin." 5 minutes later, like Joaquin screams at me, and he comes back to me 5 minutes later and goes, "All right, Ian, we can still be buddies." Like, yeah,
By the way,
no
the
one
thing I'm
sits on-
screaming at you about
is
is
me
like
being
that.
flagrantly racist or
And
something.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Or something. What else would you
To
argue?
be fair, I do know people that like maybe 20 minutes later after a heated debate, even if it is super heated like that, will like try and make amends because they both want the same
But
thing.
this is the
but
the
for something
sticking
like
point
that,
of the
like, treating
movie.
someone like an animal, you have to sit on that.
He literally keeps calling her a creature.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Oh,
that
yeah.
needs to be sat on
and
for longer
that's
than 5
the
minutes.
part of the movie to me that's like, okay, you're not deconstructing this anymore. You're leaning into it. That is an issue
So
completely.
for
Yeah.
me, for me, I just don't buy the ending. But I mean, the other parts of the movie are pretty cool. I think the music isn't the worst. It's not the worst I've heard
it's
here.
really samey.
Yeah, it is.
The music, like
I
not
don't
a
think
lot
it's.
of the
I don't
songs
think
stand
it's
out.
It's not necessary to tell the plot either.
No,
most
it's
of the
not.
time.
It's not.
That's my huge
There was
problem.
one. There was one time I thought it was like creatively implemented. It was the first dad song about him singing about like, oh, now he can make it off. He has an easier life
I
now.
don't really like that song.
That one I figure. That one I kind of like enjoy.
I liked the first song that Eliza has where she's like, "Screw you, Mr. Higgins."
Oh, the only one that she sings.
Yes, it's also the only one that Audrey
Hepburn
actually sang.
sings.
I think that one works because up until this point, sure, she's been annoyed, but like she came to him and now you're finding out she's like, oh no, I have plans for this. Like, and you're like, oh shit, she's kind of smart. And then that didn't go anywhere. But
Yep.
oh my god, the marriage song sounds like the most cliched musical song ever. Literally, I'm getting married in the morning. I don't know
It
what
sounds
it
like
is.
a circus theme.
I don't know what it is about that like chord
Yeah.
progression, that like scale, that sound of the music. I'm like, this
Yeah.
just sounds fake. It sounds like 1,000 other songs, and I don't know what it is. It
Yeah.
sounds like a fake musical number.
Insanely generic. My
and it
biggest-
went on for 15 minutes.
It did go on for 15
It
minutes.
went on for way too
And
long.
then that's the end of the dad's arc. I cannot stress this enough. The dad doesn't need to be in the movie.
Yep.
Eliza's not even that torn up about the fact that he showed up only to ask for
They
money.
sold her essentially.
He essentially sold her, which is a weird undercurrent because he's literally like, I own you. I paid $5 for you. And it's like,
cringe.
Real quick, Ian, you mentioned how that was the only song she sings. I think we need to talk about that really quick. It's so jarring.
It's
to hear
egregious.
her voice. There was
Audrey
one,
Hepburn's
the
voice.
last song that she sings. It's the same scene, and it instantly cuts from Audrey's voice to the dubbing voice.
Yep, Marnie
the dubbing
Nixon.
voice, and it's so painfully obvious. The other examples are also obvious. They're just not as egregious as that. But
Yeah.
I don't think we needed the dub at all.
we
No,
don't.
I don't. I agree.
Of course,
her voice was fine.
We
enough.
haven't heard what it originally was. You can go on YouTube. I looked it up. You can go on YouTube and find out all the songs.
we
that
only
she
really
sang.
heard Audrey's voice when she was still Cockney.
Exactly.
So it had that shrill, sharp edge to it. But there is something about what's her name?
Marnie Nixon.
Marnie Nixon. Thank you. I almost called her Mary Nixon. There is something about her voice that when it switches over, there's just something in my brain. I'm like, this isn't Audrey.
Yeah,
It's
this
not.
is-
It's not just that Ian
It's-
told me. There's something in my brain that's just
It
registering
is
like
flagrantly.
It
obvious.
feels off.
it just
does.
it doesn't sound like the pitch and the tenor is something that Audrey would be capable of presenting.
But like,
Right.
why even hire Audrey and have her do all these songs if you're just gonna dub out most of them? I don't
I
understand
have-
that.
It was deemed not good enough. I have
After the fact?
Yes, I have two things to say. One, the dubbing in the movie does not need to happen because no one else is good at singing.
dude, Mr. Higgins doesn't even sing. He kind of like
Talks over music.
He battle raps his way through this movie.
He does.
And the second point that I have is the rant that I've been trying to go on. And I want to do it while we're talking about the music.
Well, I have one thing really quick.
no.
no, Ian's going. He's going.
My really big problem with this movie is that every musical number is almost irrelevant because it takes something that was explained to us in the scene prior and then drags it on for 5 extra minutes. Which is my problem with multiple other musicals. That is why musicals as a genre mostly do not work for me. I'm Getting Married in the Morning. Like I said, he says it twice, reiterates it a third time, then sings about it for 7 minutes. It is so boring.
In a case like that, I don't think it's meant to reiterate that he's getting married in the morning.
What do you mean?
Listen, I don't think it's meant to. Obviously, he's getting married in the morning.
Is this
I
just
think
a fun, kooky visual that takes up my time?
I think it's just meant to convey that, like,
So,
yeah, he's enjoying himself before he gets married.
If I could cut in.
You can have that as a 7-minute shorter scene.
So, as we've discussed on our previous episodes reviewing musicals, a good musical songs either tell you something about the character or progress the plot forward.
Yup.
And a great song does both.
Yup.
Chicago, as an example, another film we will be watching for this. Cell Block Tango tells you the backstory of all the other girls on death row, right?
Yep.
We Both Reach for the Gun is a character building song where we understand just how scummy this lawyer is and how much control he has over the girl whose character's name escapes me for the moment.
Yep.
Chicago slaps. By the way.
Chicago's great.
It does.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about it. This film. I'm Getting Married in the Morning. Ian already made a great point about it. The song that Audrey Hepburn's character sings, Wouldn't It Be Loverly? She's longing to escape this life. You kind of already got that idea when she goes off at Higgins and Pickering in that scene for considering her uncultured. And she's like, I've got my dignity and stuff. And she just kind of sings about how, not everyone wants to slum it. I think the dad's first song where he's talking about drinking kind of works because it does reveal how much of a scumfuck bastard he is. Where he's like basically singing, I'm going to go fucking solicit this guy for money because he's helping my daughter with something.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what it is, but I'm going to go ask for some money.
One of the other songs, the song where they're congratulating each other, patting themselves on the back. That
You
doesn't
did it.
need to be
You
a
did it.
song.
It doesn't.
It's just talking over music. Make that a scene because it will be more impactful as a scene.
Yeah, that's a song that didn't need to happen. And then I think the only other song that works is, again, that song where Audrey's like, oh, Mr. Higgins, you're gonna have your day in court, because that's like the first time
Just
you
You
really
Wait.
realize
That
just
was
you,
Just
wait
You Wait.
is the moment you realize, oh, Eliza's got thoughts.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the songs, like Ian said, really do just reiterate what just happened. Really just put a fucking accentuation on it.
It adds so much runtime.
If you
And
take out the conversation and leave just the song, that works.
Yes.
Or if you take out the song and leave just the conversation, that also works.
Perfect. And the song pacing's bad. We already mentioned it. The song pacing's awful.
It'll do like 2 songs and then there won't be any singing for 35 minutes.
And then they'll do 3 back to back to back.
There was a point where we kind of forgot this was a musical.
Yep.
And when they started singing, you did it, we were all like, why the fuck? Oh, right. I fucking forgot this is a musical. Because it was also post-intermission. And this was the first song after the intermission. And I think we were probably a good 15, 20 minutes past the intermission.
Yeah.
Very few songs add something relevant.
Yep.
They're all just reiterations of exposition that we've already had, or scenes that have played out dramatically that we've already gotten the themes from.
Yep.
So,
And I personally think that if they did the right thing and made the songs relevant and also serve purposes, they wouldn't have to jump 6 weeks. I hated that so much.
I
Loved
love
joke.
that.
So
No,
so there's a
Garbage.
scene.
You do not cut 6 weeks.
It's
of
a-
progression. It's
oh,
Let
not-
me
it's meant to be
let
a
me
joke.
set the stage for this scene. So Higgins and Pickering bring Eliza to the horse races, and she embarrasses herself because she starts cheering like an uncultured Cockney for the horse race, which the song at the beginning of the horse race scene establishes you don't do.
Right.
Because they have this very comedic scene where all of the singers like stand very stoically and watch the race without any reaction, and then they
the
go,
rich
"Wasn't that
people
a
are-
rush?"
The rich people are boring scene.
Yeah, it's funny. And then, she does like the, "Come on, move your blooming ass," right?
Yep.
Then, after that scene, Higgins and Pickering are talking about their next plan to bring her to a ball. And Pickering stands up, and there's this beautiful pan in on his character. And he goes, "You're not going to get her ready in 6 weeks." And then it hard cuts. Pickering's in the exact same spot, and he goes, "You really wasted 6 weeks." I thought that was fucking hilarious.
And I thought it was
hated it.
clever.
I would've-
However, to Ian's point, it's weird that you would cut that out because that is time that would probably be better well spent on screen than the stuff that we got after the fact.
Thank you.
Also-
but I do
100%.
think it is
Also-
a clever transition had the movie had been 2 hours.
Also,
I honestly, joke when you nailed it on the head. That's why I haven't spoken much yet. Because I'm pretty indifferent towards it, but it was effective for the context in which it was in.
I will
say.
also add, Eliza meets Freddie at this horse race. So we just skipped over 6 weeks of potential Eliza Freddie. Meet cute Eliza Freddie growth. Again, when he pops up, she's like, "Go away, Freddie." It's like,
You guys
No.
know each other?
You guys know each other?
I'm supposed
He
to
hasn't
remember his
been in a film-
name.
Yeah, he's been in film in the hour and a half.
Right.
Yep. I will say though, like on topic of the humor, this is one of the genuinely.
funny.
It's
Oh,
got
it
some
is-
good
it is a
English-
riot.
It
It
is
is
good English wit.
One of the funniest best pictures so far. The Apartment is still top dog. Let's be
Oh,
clear about
absolutely.
that.
That movie's so
That
goddamn
movie was
funny.
written to be a comedy.
It's so good. But this, I think it's second or third place. I'm trying to think of a funnier one than that, but it's really good.
You know
It's-
what I appreciated about this film, circling back just a little bit to the horse race scene again. Eliza's accent is gone, but her pronunciation and her grammar are.
Arts, yeah.
It's either forced pronunciation
She's either over
or
enunciating
bad grammar.
or bad grammar.
Yeah.
Well, she'll be like, "Oh, me aunt,"
Yep.
and it's like, up. You know, she's got all the words down, and that's the point of the scene. Is she has all the words, but she doesn't really know what they mean.
Yeah.
You know, she's literally just repeating all the vocal exercises that Higgins asked her to do.
Right.
And
And then-
people are eating it up, which is fucking
Yes.
hilarious.
And then we skip 6 weeks and she can do most of it now.
Although I will say the scenes where they have the vowel sounds and she's teaching for the first
So
time,
funny.
10 out of 10, man. Come on, that's
They're
amazing.
really funny. This movie is funny. Henry's a fucking riot. Eliza's funny. Pickering's funny. Like the main
They're
characters
all-
are very
Dude,
funny.
that scene where Pickering accidentally, his accent slips and he starts talking Cockney and
Uh-huh.
Higgins like pauses and he's like, what?
And then he goes, repeat it. And he goes, Pickering, not you! And like, her! Like, it's so funny. This
I do.
movie-
Yeah, there is some genuinely good
is
chemistry between this trio.
Yeah,
I
there
enjoyed
is.
that.
Yep, it's great.
It's really good. You know what we haven't talked about yet, fellas?
Oh, please.
The boiling tub.
Oh,
Oh my god. The bathtub that
Oh my
created
God.
enough steam for 73 saunas.
They really did. So there's a scene
Yeah.
early on where Audrey Hepburn's getting forced stripped to take a bath, and like they're pumping in steam to keep it PG-13, and literally the entire screen is taken up with smoke and steam.
Mere
And it's like-
seconds, by the way.
mere
Oh,
seconds.
yeah, it's
in
like maybe 15 seconds.
And it's like, how fucking hot is
Yeah,
this?
I wouldn't
water?
want to get in that tub either.
And,
Are you
like
kidding
Audrey
me?
Hepburn's character's like screaming, like, "Don't touch me! Get off me! Stop stripping me! I'm not getting in that thing!"
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, "Ugh, this fucking uncultured woman!" And it's like, you're gonna boil her
Yeah,
alive,
exactly.
Man, she doesn't want scalding. Like, what the fuck?
also, not for nothing.
All that skin is dirty.
PG-13, more like her G. This is 1964.
Yeah,
But,
sorry, you know what I meant.
I know even.
But
But
the-
yeah.
excuse me, they showed a little bit of her shoulder at one scene, Jake.
Oh,
R.
illegal. X.
Hard R.
X-rated, which
The
is one of them.
set design in this film.
It's really
Sorry,
nice.
I'm reading my notes. The set design in this film is fucking gorgeous.
Yes,
Costume
it is.
design in this film.
Costume
Fucking
design.
gorgeous.
Yes.
But
Oh
that,
my
that
God.
song where the dad's singing about being a scumfuck bastard and he's gonna go rip this guy off for $5.
Yep.
There's
That's
so
basically
much
what he
going
does.
on in that scene, and there's so much like movement through it. Like he's crossing these bridges back and forth between like what this area of the road that's being worked on. It's so nice, you know. Like I'm just thinking, I'm like, fuck. I hate to be that guy who's like, old Murphy's done it better, but like think about Jupiter Ascending. Remember the room?
The floating sex orgy room?
Yeah, it was just a room. It was just a room with a window.
Boring world. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
But granted-
ethereal space sex room.
Also, not for nothing, but no, I don't remember that room.
Mud.
Remember the
That's
scene?
fine.
You can't. I know you're thinking, older movies do it better, but then you think of Dune.
Dune, great set design. Also minimalist though.
I think yeah, both Dune movies have great set design. I'll say that.
Like I can't be like older movie because a lot like
But-
if you think of a gorgeous like Passengers, the bad one, like
They're both the
that
bad
movie's
ones.
set design was fucking awesome.
But it's more minimalist is my point. Like there's a lot of nice background trinkets and shit in this film. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
That's fair.
Dune has beautiful set design, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but a lot of those rooms are minimalist, which makes sense cuz the Atreides have just moved into that house.
Yes.
Yep.
But this and American in Paris, like there's just such beautiful just like detail.
It's a great movie to just look at.
Yeah, it's every frame of painting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
I
Dune
don't-
is also.
I don't think
beautiful
I
to
don't
look
think
at.
you can say that about necessarily this movie because there are just some boring towns. But
That's not true. We had that one pause where.
Oh, no,
Eliza
I'm
was
not
looking
saying- I'm
dead
not
into the
saying that
camera
was-
and her teeth were bared.
that wasn't interesting.
What
But-
about a film like I'm thinking of ending things where everything in the background matters?
More like bad.
I love that. I
Got
love that movie.
Joke
We
one.
need to get Joquin to watch it, so I'm not the only person that likes it.
What if I
Or-
also hate it?
Then he'll
Well,
be on
then
Jack's side.
it's 3-1.
Or
Joke,
I don't hate it. I am indifferent.
I kind of hate it. Joken, I think you're gonna hate it if you were to watch it.
It's like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. It's really good.
Well,
All right, I guess
You
we'll
gotta
also
break the
gave-
tie.
However, about this movie.
Joquin, he also gave Green Lantern a 9.
Okay, again about this movie.
Nope, we're moving on.
it's a Green Lantern.
No, I'm talking about this. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
exactly.
I'll
Welcome
put
back
you back
to the
on
best
track.
or worst Green Lantern podcast.
Yeah, every week it's just more Green Lantern. No, so I do want to talk about Mr. Higgins' character because you're right. For like what 90%, he doesn't quote develop. I like how right after the song about how Mr. Higgins is confused about why women aren't like men, she goes to his mom's house and he acts like a small child.
It's so
It's
funny.
so fucking funny.
Again, film funny.
That's fantastic. But
The
it
film is
also
really funny.
it also serves his character. Like you see him actually learn after that
And-
argument.
And it also
I
serves
just
to
would
grow.
like more learning.
It serves to grow Eliza's character because that's
Yes.
a very smart thing for her to do.
Yes.
And she is not an intelligent creature at the beginning of this film.
No, she's not.
You're using his language
His
against her.
language.
I'm quoting. He said it, not me.
It is what
He
it
said
is.
this
Yeah,
is-
what a gutter snipe.
I will use the term gutter snipe in daily language.
Oh
now.
yeah, it's banging.
But yeah, no, I do like that scene a lot. I like if it weren't for stuff like that scene, I would probably be pretty down on Mr. Higgins. He's very simplistic, and he is mostly simplistic. But towards the end, you see that kind of like
Yeah, he starts to flesh out, but
Yeah, it's
almost
that-
it's almost a little
I just
too
think
little,
it's too
late.
sudden. And if you did that earlier in the film, or if you gave him a little bit of those thoughts earlier in the film to back it up, then it would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Because imagine if he had inklings of like, do I care about her? And like thought about it throughout the film instead of just all at once at the end.
Yep.
It would be much stronger.
I do like that quite a bit though. But yeah, you are right about that. It should have implemented more so.
Sprinkle it throughout instead of jamming it all in at the end.
No, do it via song.
No, no.
No.
Do it via scene and then song for 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
He's getting married in the morning, guys.
Don't forget,
Please.
you gotta get there on time.
Oh my
Church,
God,
on
guys!
time.
Did you guys know her dad is getting married and then they never show the wedding?
Her
Oh my
dad
God.
did not need to be in the film.
No,
Yeah,
not
I
at
agree
all.
with you wholeheartedly.
Because
I-
like Eliza never even like really has to grapple with the fact that her father came by just to get $5.
And I said after he got his money, he got the £5. I said like, oh wait, it's been another hour. Wonder where the dad character is now.
And then another hour went by.
Also,
and
not
then-
for nothing, but do the writers of this movie think that poor people like and want to keep being poor?
Yes.
Some people do like a simple life.
Some.
And
Most
well,
don't.
I buy the fact that this dude wants a simpler life.
He
I
just
think-
wants to be a drunk.
Yeah, that's,
He does.
He wants
I
to be a
think
poor drunk
also,
bastard.
Like Higgins points out, like this guy's got some weird fucking worldviews.
That is very true.
Yeah.
He's obviously not like sane, you know.
No, yeah, sure, I get that.
He's a scumfuck bastard. Like I
Exactly.
can't stress that enough. He sold his
That
daughter
is the
for
best
5
three
pence
words to use.
and then never spoke to her for 6 months. And then
Higgins
he
was
was
like,
getting
"You'd
married
sell-
in the morning, and he didn't even tell her.
Higgins was like, "You'd sell your daughter for £50," and he's like, "No, I wouldn't. That's way too much."
He said that. Yeah,
He only said, "I do it for 50 if your intentions are bad. That's why I'm only asking for 5."
that's what he said.
Yeah.
Like he's a fucker. Like he's
Yeah,
an
he is.
asshole.
He is.
I wouldn't dare ask for 10. That I like at the very
Dare ask
least.
for 10. Scumbag dad. I already made that note.
But yeah. No, yeah, I think overall this movie is mostly strong.
Yes.
Mostly. It's
Yes.
not a great movie. Honestly, I know we're probably going to wrap up soon, but like if it did lean into the deconstruction element and made the characters a little more fleshed out, specifically like Higgins earlier on, I think you got yourself an awesome movie. You have like an excellent, amazing time.
I think the thing that hinders this film is the musical aspects. I'm just gonna say it.
I think this film would have been stronger if it wasn't a musical.
I agree. I think
yeah.
for me it goes up like 2 full points
I
because it takes out a lot of the bland space that didn't really need to be like the way it was, and you can add actual things there.
So I have two more notes, one minor, one major. First off, when Freddy goes to court Eliza, he is wearing a gray suit with black pants, a black hat, and brown socks, and it looks fucking atrocious.
It's the brown socks, dude.
It's so bad. Why are you wearing-
We've reached the pointless notes section of the show.
No, these are the more important notes. I saved them for last
Because they're useless.
because they're so important. It's called nitpicking, and it's what keeps this channel alive.
Fair. That is fair. It's what our commentaries are made out of.
Yep. Looks awful. 2, there is an interesting undercurrent to Eliza's story that is only somewhat touched on during Eliza and Higgins' big fight at his place. Eliza makes it abundantly clear at the beginning of the film, like she screams it to high heavens, like she's like, I'm just trying to sell my flowers, I'm a good upstanding citizen, I don't do any of that crap.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the film, she goes to Mr. Higgins to get an education to better herself, and then when she's talking, what am I supposed to do, what have you trained me to do? And he basically was like, oh, you'd make a lovely wife to somebody. And she's like, she basically says, you want me to sell my body. and you consider that less inappropriate than me selling flowers because I am now educated.
Yeah.
Like, she's basically saying, you've just turned me into a high-class hooker.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting undercurrent that I don't think this film touches on enough.
Yeah.
Because, like, when she was selling flowers, sure, you could look down on her for being cockney, uncultured, all that shit, being loud and annoying and a tramp, but she wasn't. At the end of the day, she wasn't some vile wench. You know, and now she feels that way. He's turned her into a thing that she did not want to be. She went here expecting to get an education in ladyship, to learn how to be like a woman in society. And what she's found out is the only commodity that upper class women have is their body. And that was the life she was trying to avoid to an extent. As a you know, a fucking homeless bum.
And that is the half of the 60-70%. That is the most of the movie, I will say, 2/3 ish, that does deal with and deconstruct those themes.
Yeah.
And I really wish that was 100% of the time. You know, I really wish that the movie, the other chunk of the time, didn't spend its time leading into those tropes and just making us go, oh, well, that's okay. Well, you're not doing anything with this topic. You're just doing this topic. You're not really like deconstructing anymore. And it keeps going back and forth with those other scenes that just keep alternating between what it's trying to say. And then, we get 3 songs in a row that don't add anything. And then we go back to deconstruction.
And then he's getting married in the morning.
And then he's getting married in the morning. It's like, what a wild roller coaster of like how I'm supposed to like feel about this stupid movie. We flagrantly derailed at the end, as we usually do. So
Just like the movie.
Just like the movie.
Anyways.
Time for a musical dance scene. I'm going to give it... I'm honestly going to go with a 7. This could have been a great movie, but it almost was, and it kind of isn't. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
What's your favorite? What's your least favorite?
We do that after the rating. Jake, I also think that this right here is a pretty solid movie. I think 7's a little too generous for the mistakes it makes in the end. It kind of falters.
Fair.
I think I'm thinking a solid 6 out of 10.
Okay. All right.
I think the other side of this couch here is gonna heavily disagree with us, though.
What
maybe I'm
indication have I
sorry.
given?
I'm
Hold
sorry.
on.
Ian's dragging you down right
Don't
now.
lump me in with that weird side. I am gonna go first before Ian pops
That's
off.
fine.
I agree with both of you. I think this film stumbles a lot, but it runs a good race. And I am going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Hey.
Oh, interesting.
I think the sides of the couch are going to be completely different. 7, 7, 6, 6, the same fucking scores.
Oh my god, you're giving it a 6?
Yeah, it'd be an
Interior
8 if
sevens.
it wasn't a fucking musical.
Interior
this
set.
movie
I
does-
also agree.
This movie really, really, really tells a good story.
Yeah, it does.
The main problem is how much it just, doesn't work with either of its themes of classism and sexism. It just doesn't work. The theming is having its cake and also being sexist and classist. It just doesn't work. And the movie drags its runtime. This film, if it was a 2-hour-long film with actual scenes instead of music and better character development, would be a banging time.
I think what's worse is that the film falls apart at the 2-hour mark when you're about to hit the third act. I think the first and second acts are actually pretty well paced.
Yeah.
And then the third act just doesn't show up when you're expecting it. That's what kills this film's momentum.
Yeah. Joe, I think the score's gonna be wildly different.
Ian, I know you. You hate musicals, and you've been
Ian
non-stop
hates movies.
complaining about this movie the entire time.
I enjoy myself. That's
I'm
the thing.
happy. No, I'm
But
happy you
it's
enjoyed
funny,
yourself. I am
it's-
happy you enjoyed yourself.
Listen, what am I gonna fucking every single time when we're watching the whole 3-hour length film? Am I gonna compliment every single thing I like? I never shut the fuck up on Supposed to Normal, where I never shut the fuck up.
That's true. You do never shut the fuck up. That's true.
You know. All
it's
right.
time
My
for us to-
favorite is Bridge on the River Kwai. It's still the best one, and the worst one is still and maybe indefinitely GG.
Yeah, my favorite is definitely going to be Bridge on the River Kwai because it's the best one. And my least favorite is last week's Tom Jones, baby. Let's go.
I cannot believe you think Tom Jones is worse than Gigi.
It is.
Anyways, the
It easily
worst
is.
one is fucking easily Gigi, and
Not
the best
easily.
one, I'm still like, I think I'm gonna swap back and forth, but I think it's The Apartment.
The Apartment's
Farmit is so good.
It's so good.
The
So I missed a lot of bangers,
You did.
unfortunately.
You also
So-
missed a
You
lot
also
of
missed
shitters.
Gigi and Tom Jones.
I
Lucky
missed the
bastard.
best and the worst pictures podcast.
Oh my
I'm your
God,
host, Jake,
that's
and
why it's
joining me
called
as
that.
always is my good host, Joquin.
How you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm joking.
Oh, and I'm Jake.
My favorite is Gentleman's Agreement.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Almost 2 decades back.
Still a 10.
And my least favorite is The Greatest Show on Earth.
Oh, that's a tough
We're
one.
gonna have to get you watching all the ones you missed.
Yeah, cut you up to date.
Mm-hmm.
Can we at least have them watch the good ones and not the bad ones?
I'd appreciate.
Yeah, you really just missed like 2 or 3 bangers.
With that, Jake, what will we be watching next time?
I'll tell you, it's going to be the 38th Best Picture winner ever, which is, of course, none other than the 1965 hit classic, The Sound of Music.
I can't wait.
Another musical.
I can't
just
wait.
For me. What year's Oliver? 68 or 67?
68. It's in a few years.
Yay! Another one.
Yeah, you get 2 breaks.
And if you thought My Fair Lady
Sorry,
was
wait.
wrong. But
Wrong.
Also
I did.
long with an L.
Oh my God!
I
Sound of
do
Music's
just
like
want to
80
say,
hours.
Sound of Music is the exact same runtime as My Fair Lady.
Fuck!
Let's go.
Okay, pause. Jake, keep this in. Everybody, Jake has the Wikipedia article for fucking Morbius up right now on his laptop, and I do not know why.
Do not plead to me. I'm pretty sure Mud elected to edit it, so that's on him.
Mud, I swear to God, if you got this out, why?
That's not relevant.
I think the best part was, Joker hasn't even said the funniest part. Jake's had this open the entire time we've been
Whole
watching
film.
this film.
A whole film.
And at one point, I want to say an hour and 40 minutes in, Joquin leaned over and said, "Why do you have the Wikipedia page for Morbius open?" To which Jake responded, "I'm following along with the plot."
I want to point out as well, this is very relevant. Hour and 40 minutes is the exact runtime of Morbius from 2022.
Yeah, I know.
So-
That's why I said it.
Yeah, thank you. I
It's
appreciate
Morbius.
that.
You've been morbed.